That's the point. So it is very important to know the distinction between vidya and avidya so that you can take proper steps to fight, to get rid of the destructive avidya. Why avidya is destructive? Because of its demonic qualities. Because avidya destroys everything that is in you. Avidya, it consists of lust, anger, greed, egotism, attachment, all these things. These are all great giants in the realm of avidya. We are all under the control of these giants. These giants are ruling us. We are helpless, hopeless. The great human being is reduced to a worthless, indecent creature. Because you have been overpowered by these great demons. Lust, anger, also anger, so on and so forth. All these things. You have to take steps to overcome all these dreadful, destructive enemies. So it's very important to worship Kali. It's only Kali, the mother, has the supreme power of just finishing these giants in no time. Just surrender to Mother Kali. That's why today I sang on Mother Kali. How grand it is to remember her, to rely upon her power. Let her act upon you. Just be at her feet like a child. You will see how wonders she will do. Be in the Kali Dham. It will be wonderful. That's the way. So, to be in spiritual life means to be in Kali Dham. That's the point which you should remember. It's only through the powerful discrimination and renunciation you can dispel avidya. So, vidya and avidya, both are there. Both are there very much in this universe. God has given us the power to choose. What you want, you will have it. There is water, there is fire. If you want to cool yourself, dip yourself in water. If you want to burn yourself, enter into fire. Both are there. If you are mad, you go after the fire. If you are sensible, you go towards water. That means you have to direct yourself. You have to direct yourself. That's the point here. So, when we study, we find out that there are two currents flowing within us. One carries us towards God, the other carries us towards the world. One current takes us along the path of renunciation to God, the other tries to put us towards worldly enjoyments and pleasures. So, your life depends upon what you choose. That's all. Very simple. There was a king. He came to a holy man and said, "Well, will you please release me from this bondage? Just make me free. I'm fed up with this administration, ruling, this, that, etc. The idea has come, I should become free, so make me free." Just like some people come and talk very lightly, "Can you show me God? Have you seen God?" Everybody wants to behave like Vivekananda. No, it's not so easy. Unless you are prepared, you won't get anything. Even if God comes to you, you will not recognize. Because your mind is not ready. You want to hug the world. How can you hug God? Let God stay for some time. Let me have the pleasure of hugging the world. That's the meaning of telling, when people say, let after 40, 50, when we become old, let us take spirituality. That's the idea. That means first we shall enjoy, then we shall go to God. As if he is showing concession to God. Our thinking is very ridiculous. Anyway, people have their own philosophy, They want to prove they are good. They want some approval. What they are doing is right. Even though they know it is bad. You should say it is not bad. They like it. Now, in the matter of spirituality, you can't talk like that. What's the use of cheating yourself? So, this king was like that. Because he came and saw the holy man, probably because of the holy vibrations there, he thought it was so easy, and he, just in a light-hearted way, he talked. "Oh, make me free from bondage. What is this samsara?" Like that. So, as usual, the holy man, what everybody does, gives some instructions. Please do this, do that, etc., etc. Sometimes people come running. "Oh, I want initiation, I want initiation." Wait, you read this book, read that book. Then you will see how far they are serious about initiation. If they are really serious about initiation, what you say they will follow. So, he gave instructions. But that king was not so patient to follow those instructions, and he want everything quickly. To put in American way, instant they want. Instant realization. Instant kick they want. Everything instant. There is joy. What is there? waiting for some more births, etc., etc. We don't want that. We don't want that realization. If it doesn't come right now, I don't want it. That is the American way of expressing that impatience. But in spirituality, no place for impatience. No place. The moment you are impatient shows you are yet to be qualified to become spiritual. Impatience itself is a disqualification, to put it in the right way. You have no powers to demand anything. You must remember that. Only thing you can do is surrender your ego, bend your head properly, touch your head on the ground, let the whole body drop on the ground. Drop yourself totally, with body, with mind, with your thoughts, with all things. Lay flat. That is how you should learn to purify yourself. It's only through purification you will understand God, not by any means. What all these yogas are meant for? To purify your heart. Once it is done, God is always with you, and you are always with God. Once you have that experience, whether you are in America, whether you are in China, wherever you are happy. You love everybody, they love you. Whether they love you or not, you love them. Because your purity is such, you'll be able to see only purity in everybody. That perception makes you remarkably peaceful and happy. What else you want? Once you have that peace and happiness, that's over. You're all struggling for what? For getting peace, is it not? For getting joy and happiness, is it not? If you can get them, it's over. And what you get, they stay with you. Spiritual joy, spiritual happiness, spiritual results, they stay with you. Because once you have known the truth, there is no more illusion for you. Once there is light, there is no more darkness. So, this man is demanding the sage, oh, just make me free. Just make me free. He's showing his impatience. The sage kept quiet for some time. Then what he did was, suddenly the sage, he hugged a pillar. There's a big pillar there. And he firmly embraced it. He caught hold of it. Then the sage is telling, oh, release me from this, disentangle me. Release me, release me. But he is holding firm. And he is shouting. The king laughed. What is this sage? What is he talking about? So he told him, why? Why are you asking me to release you? Why don't you let go the hold? You are holding it firmly. Loosen your hold, that's all. So he is telling to do that way. No. You must disentangle me. Like the sage said. Then the king replied, well, a very great fun indeed. You have clasped the pillar tightly, and at will you can leave it off. But no, you will request me to come to your rescue. Why don't you yourself give it up? Why don't you do that? King is telling the sage. Then the sage thought that was the proper stage. Then he left the pillar and said to the king, now, it is the same case with you. You yourself are holding on, clasping the world. And yet you constantly request me to release you from it. Why don't you yourself give it up? Renounce it. You are the man to renounce it, not me. I have already done. So, king understood. King understood. Anyway, the point of this story is renunciation is essential. To get something good, you will have to renounce its opposite, the bad thing. But on the other hand, if you renounce the good thing, you will have the bad thing. Either one you will have. There are only two. If you take this, the other will, if you give up one, the other will, you are grabbing the other one. If you grab the bad one, you are giving up the good one. So, grabbing and giving up both are in your hands. The gurus will show you the way. And he also tells you, please come this way. If you don't come, that means you have lack of faith in Guru. You don't have sufficient devotion to Guru. You are not following his teachings. At the same time, you are calling him a Guru. It is hypocritical. If you say, if you accept a holy man as your Guru, follow it up very thoroughly. Follow all the instructions carefully. Be humble, be devoted, be reverential, be thoughtful, be right thinking. Then everything works out very well. So that is the meaning of a word in Sanskrit, Sharanagata, refuge. When Lord Krishna says, take refuge in me, the Supreme Being of the universe. Take refuge in me. That means don't desire for anything else but me. That means renounce everything for my sake. So, no refuge is possible without renunciation of everything. If you know the technique of taking refuge in God, the goal of spiritual life is reached. A person surely protects one who takes refuge in him. They give an example. Water allows the fish to swim against its current. But the proud, defiant elephant is carried away irresistibly by a powerful current. So this attitude doesn't come of itself. For this, holy association is needed. Discussion on spiritual matters and deep thinking are very important in our day-to-day life. How we practice Vedanta in our daily life is most important. Most important. So, the sum total of all these effects will give you the final result. Just like the students face lot of semester exams in the schools, in life also we have got so many semesters. How many semesters we have failed? If you take the sum total, you are miserably failed. So, each semester you have to get success. You must rise. At times you may fall. I call it spiritual accident. But don't worry. Pray more. Admit your weakness. Fight yourself. That's the way. So let us carry on our life in a proper way. Sri Ramakrishna has given many practical ways of approaching the final goal of reaching the abode of God. Reaching the abode of God, what do you get? You get supreme joy. You get supreme peace. Supreme peace and supreme joy you get by reaching the abode of God. So, we are all struggling in our path to reach that abode. It's only then we will be free from any kind of misery, sorrow, and suffering. So the Mahatmas come, the holy people come to show us the way now and again. Because the people have the tendency to lose the path, they get distracted and they will be in the abode of suffering instead of being in the abode of God. So, out of infinite compassion for the created beings, the Supreme Lord comes in human form. Those who worship formless aspect of God don't have to bother about the human form of God if they are well established in their conviction that they are very comfortable in pursuing the path of formlessness. Wonderful. May God bless them. But we should know that is not simply dwelling upon the formless aspect of God and carry on the life in a way not suitable to spiritual life. Whether you are pursuing God in whatever way you want, what is needed is spiritual practice and spiritual life. So, Sri Ramakrishna has set forth an ideal before everyone. You want formless aspect of God? Come on, I will show you formless aspect. You want God with form? I will show you God with form. Come on. Because Sri Ramakrishna had realized both aspects of God. As the Upanishads declare, he became the knower of everything. There is nothing else to be known by him. That is the supreme state of a person who has realized this supreme divine. So Sri Ramakrishna has given many practical ways to approach that abode. You may wonder whether the God's abode exists separately just as this world is existing for us. It's a very good question, and Sri Ramakrishna tells it exists. God dwells in a region. He looks after the whole creation, governs the administration, goes into all the details of all the beings all the time. So he has his own wonderful organization, and he has set forth different sets of rules to govern all different regions. So cosmic rule, everything is there. As long as the creation lasts, all these things are there. As long as we have senses to operate upon, these things do exist. Sri Ramakrishna himself experienced in course of his meditation that he went through all the different lokas, planets, where different varieties of beings are dwelling. gods and goddesses, innumerable. Each region is very vast. Everywhere there are things to enjoy. So, there is intense activity going on in the creation. Intense activity. Creation, preservation and destruction. Srishti-sthiti-laya. All these three aspects are going on simultaneously, taking care of everything in this universe. That which is rotten is allowed to decay. That which is to be sprouted is allowed to come up. That which is to be alive for some time is allowed to. All the things, even the movement of the blade of grass, is done by the supreme will of God. So, we have to understand this principle. Then it makes us easy to go in the spiritual path, even if we have to face many hurdles on our way. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling, remember that work is only the first step in spiritual life. God cannot be realized without sattva, namely love, discrimination, kindness, and so on. These are the qualities of sattva. You will have to develop these qualities. If you don't have love, cherish that love. If you don't have discrimination, practice discrimination. If you don't have kindness, be kind enough. Concentrate upon these qualities. Raise yourself to the sattvic level. Don't ask any question about why I didn't realize God, why this, why that, etc. Stop asking questions like that anymore. First, develop sattvic qualities. Do you love everyone? Do you have kindness? Do you have proper discrimination? Ask that question yourself before asking any other question. It is the very nature of rajas to involve a person in many worldly activities. The very fact that you are born in this world will force you to act in the way the world wants. So, ordinarily people are rajasic. What's the effect of that? Rajas, it degenerates into tamas. Instead of rising up to sattvic level, you are going down. You are degrading yourself to the lower level, not knowing that fact. A man of rajasic qualities is full of egoism, full of pride, full of boasting, full of anger, full of lust, full of jealousy, full of hatred. All these are the wonderful qualities of rajas. That's why you see, when you are engaging yourself in activities, how much of these most fantastic qualities come up and show up their ugly faces in front of you. How many times you are angry while doing work? How many times you become irritated? How many times you become jealous? How many times you become angry? These are the fruits of rajas. So you find why there is so much crime, why there is shooting, why there is killing, why there is kidnapping, why there are so many scandals. Simple answer is people are drowned in rajas, not knowing even the existence of sattvic virtue. So what is the result? Sri Ramakrishna tells you, if a person is entangled in too many activities, he will surely forget God. Because his mind will be constantly under botheration. With so much of botheration in the mind, can you think of God? Forget about it. So, what's the meaning of forgetting God? What does it mean? It means one becomes more and more attached to lust and gold. Lust and gold. Bottom to top, lust and gold. So, Sri Ramakrishna tells you, you must rise to sattvic level, develop all those wonderful qualities of love, kindness and discrimination. Then you can hope to have the vision of God, and you can hope to reach the abode of God. Then Sri Ramakrishna gives you another hint. Well, it's all right to engage in work rather than sitting idle. Idle man's mind is devil's workshop. It's good to be active rather than idle. But then, if you have to have the spiritual result out of what you are doing, you have to follow some process. You must be aware of some facts. You must be aware of the value. Then even though you are engaged in work, it takes you towards the spiritual path. So herein comes the significance of Sri Ramakrishna's teaching. He tells to work in a spirit of detachment is known as karma yoga. When you are aware that you are practicing karma yoga, it should naturally follow that you should not give room to any kind of egotism. If you adopt the path of karma yoga, don't seek the fruits. What's the meaning? The meaning is work selflessly. Work selflessly. That's the meaning of telling not seeking the fruits. Then what? Offer everything, all rewards of your actions to God. Don't store them with you anymore. Not for me. Not for me. Always see that signboard in your mind. Not for me. Everything for God. That is the meaning of selfless work. The motive behind the work should be only to do good. If this is so, an opportunity to do good work is looked upon as a privilege. Once you think of work as the rare privilege, then you will say that ego will not overpower you. You must always remember, the world is not waiting for your benevolence. Even without your efforts, the world will go on. Don't think that you are too important for the ongoing of the world. So, if you observe the things in the world, the results of all good works, temples, hospitals, orphanages, shelters, built with enormous pious efforts, may all vanish due to natural calamities like hurricanes, or earthquakes and so on. Then why do you do good work? Because it is a blessing to yourself. By doing good work, you will be going in the righteous path, leading to the abode of God. Swami Vivekananda, the greatest disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, man of realization, master of all the yogas. If you read the 4 yogas written by Vivekananda, all those 4 yogas were given to America. You can see the mastership of Swami Vivekananda. Unless a person knows the subject thoroughly, he can't write like that. Every sentence is full of vigor, full of life, full of inspiration, full of spirit, full of current, full of energy, full of light. So, when such a person tells you, he means what he tells. He means what he tells. He calls upon us to serve God in a person. Develop the attitude of service if you want to tame your ego. As I already told you, unless the ego is tamed, you can't reach the abode of God. So Vivekananda shows the way to blessedness. He said in one of his talks very clearly, we may all be perfectly sure that the world will go on beautifully well without us. And we need not bother our heads wishing to help it. Yet we must do good. The desire to do good is the highest motive power we have if we know all the time that it's a privilege to help others. It's a privilege. It tells very effectively, don't stand on a high pedestal and take 5 cents in your hand and say, here my poor man. But be grateful that the poor man is there, so that by making a gift to him, you are able to help yourself. It is not the receiver that is blessed, but it is the giver. Be thankful that you are allowed to exercise your power of benevolence and mercy in the world, and thus become pure and perfect. No beggar whom we have helped has ever owed a single cent to us. We owe everything to him because he has allowed us to exercise our charity on him. It is entirely wrong to think that we have done or can do good to the world. To think that we have helped such and such people. Swamiji says, it's a foolish thought to think like that. And all foolish thoughts bring misery. We think that we have helped some person and expect that person to thank us, and because he doesn't, unhappiness comes to us. Why should we expect anything in return for what we do? If you want the reward for what you have done, then you won't get spiritual reward. If it comes by itself, it's all right. If it doesn't come, it's all right. Have that attitude. Maintaining the same-sidedness, equanimity. Whether you get it or not, you are the same. Your love, your kindness, your service will go on. Whether people recognize it, whether people abuse you, or whether people praise you. You are not bothered about them anymore. You are doing all these things for the love of God. That is the spirit of Karma Yoga. Be grateful to the man you help. Think of him as God. Then you will develop reverence to all the beings. Is it not a great privilege to be allowed to worship God by helping your fellow man? If you are really unattached, you should escape all this pain of vain expectation and could cheerfully do good work in the world. If you are engaging yourself in such activities all the time, being aware of your actions, all the time examining yourself whether you are getting yourself freed from egotism. That's very important. Selfless activity must make you more and more egoless, free from ego. That way, you can transform karma into Karma Yoga. Don't seek the fruits. Mean to be selfless. Work for work's sake, love for love's sake. That should be our model, ideal in our life. Prepare the life properly. Prepare the life properly. Then you will see how you can enjoy the glory of God. Wholeheartedly. To remove all obstructions in our spiritual path. He himself has said, every prayer will be heard. Only you must pray sincerely. Then God will certainly respond. These are the words of Sri Ramakrishna. So, every bit of what he had said is true from the point of view of his realization of the absolute reality. It is very important for us to draw attention towards our spiritual ideal. Then only you will be able to understand, as you keep on practicing disciplines, the glories of God. Everything occurs in the life for your own good. You will develop that kind of perception in yourself once you get your heart purified to a certain extent. In the spiritual journey, what is very important is that you should never stop spiritual practices. Even you may stop any other activity. Sometimes you may not take food. Sometimes you may not do certain things. But with regards to spiritual practices, we should never stop them at any time. That is the way how we should proceed in spiritual path. You should never stop for any reason. Even if you get some kind of visions, some dreams, some joy in course of your practices, even then you should continue your sadhanas. You will never stop. The sadhana should take you onward until you reach the supreme goal. So Sri Ramakrishna has very clearly stated, whatever you may do, you will find better and better things if only you go forward. Don't be contented. I have got everything. That's all. I don't need any more. No, don't say like that. In the spiritual realm, there is no limit. The more joy you have, the more joy you will get. Still more, you will get joy. It is an increasing scale. Today I have got some kind of joy. Tomorrow it will be finer. Next day it will be much more fine. Like that it goes on. It is ever increasing. That's why when you reach the Paramatman, the Supreme Soul, you will get infinite joy. Full of bliss. That is the highest state. So Sri Ramakrishna says, though you may feel a little ecstasy as a result of japa, as a result of doing some spiritual activities, but don't conclude from this that you have achieved everything in spiritual life. Don't declare immediately, I am a yogi. Don't immediately jump and call the people, come on, I will show you how to practice Hatha Yoga. These are all distractions in spiritual life. Sri Ramakrishna tells, the more and more you practice sadhana, a day will come, you will converse with God. It is his words. You will talk with him. Just as I am talking with you, you can talk with God. So, Sri Ramakrishna himself was talking with Divine Mother every day. So when he said that, certainly it must be true. Because he was a personification of truth. So, what is needed is, as days pass by, be more and more concentrated in your spiritual practices. More and more concentrated. Today I sit for 10 minutes, tomorrow I sit for 5 minutes. No, not like that. More and more deep. More and more steady. More and more calm. More and more pointed. These are the indications. So, in order to set yourself properly in that position, there is a technique. That is, you must have one central thought to which all other thoughts are to be subordinated. The central predominating thought must be there in your mind. That is the purpose of giving initiation. When you have received the mantra, that should be your central thought. Your whole life is towards it. You are in it. You are not separate from it. Your whole being is given to it, not to take out. Once you have given wholeheartedly, never for a moment, even in dream, think of taking back what you have given. It is just like eating this spittle. Once you have spat, eating the same thing back. Some people are there, I noticed. Through the office, I came to know one person was asking some books which he had donated to the library. He wants them back. And when the matter was reported to me, for a moment I thought, then I decided, no use of teaching philosophy to a person who wants them back. If he thinks that he should take them back, give them away. Let him take back. That means his giving was not wholehearted. That's the point you must note. That means there is no sincerity in your giving. Some crookedness is there. Some motivation is there. Otherwise, why should that thought come to you? Once you have given, why should you take it back? So, no, that's the idea. Are you prepared for spiritual life? The basic requirement is you must aspire for spiritual life. Spiritual aspiration is very important. Then only you will appreciate, then only you will perceive, then only you can comprehend the grace of God. So, it is suggested, fix the mind in one central thought. Nourish it. Make it bright. Throughout the day, it must be so powerful. Day by day, the central thought become more and more powerful, bright and activated. So that your whole mind one day should be occupied with that central thought. That's very important in spiritual life. We can give an analogy in the worldly sense. Suppose a boy is studying for medicine. He is too busy in studies all the time, though he goes for recreation. He goes and plays basketball, he goes to the bar, he goes this way, that way. Even though he runs here and there, but the central thought in him is to become a doctor, and he is studying, and the situation demands him to study more, not to waste the time. Otherwise, he may not get through the exam. He might not become doctor at all if he just spends his time in useless things. Though he is eating, though he is playing, though he is talking, though he is cutting jokes, inside he is always thinking about his medical studies. He always thinks about presenting his paper to the professor. It's true. I have heard from 2-3 students who are coming here. Their whole mind is sitting there. Though they come here, oh Swamiji, I have to go back because tomorrow I have to submit the paper. See? That is pulling him. In spite of his trying to come out, come on, where are you going out? It pulls him. It pulls him. Because that is a central thought. In the same way, here in spiritual life, if you have fixed your central thought as a realization of God, it must pull you down. Not pull you down, pull you up. So, it must pull you up. Where are you going? Where are you running? Here, there, etc. So, slowly you will come under the control of that central thought. Once you are in that control, you are pretty safe. So, that's very important. What is this central thought? I have already told you the mantra which you receive through initiation. That is your central thought, fixed by the Guru. He implants that one in your heart. So, it means you must develop sufficient longing to realize the Supreme Divine, which is the content of the mantra which you have received. Let this burn in your heart like a flame. Let every thought and action be lit up by this light of the soul. That means you must have spiritual hunger. That's very important. You must be spiritually hungry. Then only you will have spiritual appetite. Then the spiritual food will satisfy you. All these are connected. So, Sri Ramakrishna tells again and again that prayer and practice of spiritual disciplines must be steady. Because they remove your drowsiness. Because of the drowsiness, you are not able to comprehend grace. Even though God's grace is there, even though God is showering all love and affection on you, yet you are so ignorant. You are not able to enjoy God's grace and affection because of your drowsiness. As long as the mind is soaked in the world, you will be having the disease of drowsiness. So, in order to understand the value of grace, you must be cured of the disease of drowsiness. Once you are able to get rid of that destructive drowsiness, you will feel the tremendous impact of grace on your inner life. Sri Ramakrishna gives an invaluable, simple technique so that you may become recipient of God's grace. What is that simple secret which Sri Ramakrishna has revealed? It is secret and it is simple. He has shown the technique. That is, to have God's grace from the point of view of aspirant, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, whatever work you perform, whatever work, whatever you are doing through your senses, do it with sincerity and earnest longing for God. It is possible only, as I said before, if your mind is fixed on the central thought. The same thing Lord Krishna had said in the Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, that is the language of Krishna. Whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give away, and whatever you practice in the form of austerities, Arjuna, do it as an offering to me. Thus shall you be free from the bondage of actions which bear good or evil results. So, Sri Krishna tells him, fix your mind firmly. Set it on the yoga of renunciation. That's important. Then you will become free. Then you will come to me. Setting the mind on the yoga of renunciation. Just important. Yoga of renunciation. I desire nothing in this world. I desire nothing. I want only God and God alone. I want the experience of the supreme realization of Paramatman. So, in order to set the mind on renunciation, you have to give up so many things that come on your way. Reject everything one by one. Become lighter and lighter. Remove all the things from the mind. Let the mind become transparent. Let this flame of central thought shine brightly in the transparent mind. Never allow anything to come and occupy your mind. Then only you will be free from worldly bondage. Then you will be able to understand the value of infinite grace. You will get the experience of infinite bliss on account of the infinite grace of God. So, grace plays very important part in the spiritual journey of an aspirant. As I said, fix the mind on central thought. Think of your deity all the time. Be humble and practice disciplines, not hurting anyone, concentrating on what you have to do, doing things carefully, watchfully, with devotion and dedication. Then you will get everything that is required for you. You will have immense joy. You will get immense joy because you will get immense peace. Whenever a person is peaceful, he is joyful. Supreme peace equals supreme joy. That's the glory of spiritual life. All our prayers will be answered very effectively if only we follow what Sri Ramakrishna has said. That means we must really aspire for spiritual knowledge and spiritual illumination. If you are really sincerely aspiring for it, Sri Ramakrishna will certainly fulfill the prayers. What we pray, we must mean. Not simply we are doing prayer. It's not in a mechanical sense. Particularly in our chapel, we do prayers. It has got great spiritual significance. Well, those who are really struggling in spiritual path, come to Sri Ramakrishna. So, whatever little sincerity they have, it will be enriched, coming in contact with Sri Ramakrishna's wonderful life and teachings. Generally, I take one or two statements from Sri Ramakrishna's teachings which we had read and try to elaborate the spiritual significance of the Master's instructions. How it is really inspiring and how it is really joyous to dwell upon the Master's teachings. Sri Ramakrishna said, I am just quoting what he had said in the Gospel, gather your whole mind. Every word here is important. He didn't say, little mind, little this way, that way. No. That's what I am telling you. Sri Ramakrishna tells you very clearly what needs to be done. So, he's pointing out to you, gather your whole mind and direct it to God. How many ways mind is running helter-skelter. How many ways mind has been occupied with other things. How many ways mind runs far away from spiritual ideas. In how many ways the mind's energy is being dissipated. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling you, always remember this. Whole mind must be directed to God. Then plunge deep into God. That means whatever spiritual practices you are doing, do it zealously, with great determination, love and devotion. Sri Ramakrishna tells you further, pray always with a longing heart for love of God's lotus feet. Once you are able to kindle love towards God, your spiritual path becomes very easy and very enjoyable. So, Sri Ramakrishna is pointing out that we should cherish love of God. That's important. So, bhakti, the most important and well-tested spiritual path for this modern age. Sri Ramakrishna tells, Bhakti Marga is very apt for the people to take up. It can not only give you the vision of the personal God, but also knowledge of Brahman. That means by following the path of bhakti, you will have the highest realization of Brahman, which was the path of the Jnana Margis, those who practice Jnana, path of knowledge. But you also get the same thing. So, in order to evolve in a proper way, in order to express love fully towards God, you have to take to bhakti marg. Bhakti, devotion. The more and more devoted you become, the more and more love springs from your heart. So, be very careful and alert to see how your devotion is maintained properly. That's very important. Day by day, your devotion must increase. Having come to the ashrama, you must feel the effect of devotion more than anything else. Don't try to express the worldly ways of things in the spiritual path. In fact, we have to uproot all the worldly tendencies in us. Worldly tendencies, they are destructive. They destroy even your little devotion. So, you have to be extremely careful about your practices. You have to be extremely careful about your life. Why have I come here? If I don't cherish love towards one another. So that question you will have to ask now and then and take immediate steps to rectify. So, bhakti plays a very important role in our spiritual life. It provides you a conquering force. What is that?